Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. So I want to welcome everyone who's joining me live here on Facebook. This is actually day 1.5 of a series of videos. I say 1.5 because I actually started yesterday on YouTube. Welcome everyone who's watching this on YouTube as well. This represents day 2 for you. So just to catch you up on Facebook, on what we covered yesterday in the first video in this series. So yesterday's video was entitled, Online Business, Yes or No? Is it worth it to start an online business? And we'll talk about the advantages of that. And so I felt it important to do a little series that delved into the world of online businesses, ultimately affiliate marketing, but more importantly, the aspects of having an online business and why is it very important into our financial society today. So let's go ahead and jump in and first answer the question of online business, yes or no? Well, it's a resounding yes. Second, is it worth it to start an online business? Resounding yes, it's absolutely worth it to start an online business. And it's more than worth it, it's an absolute necessity. So now let's go into reason why. Now, I want to ask you up front to make this as most productive as possible, try to check your feelings right now. Because the things I'm going to discuss are numerical based and not feelings based. Are statistic based and not touchy-feely emotional based. And you don't want, or I don't want the emotion to cloud what's right here in front of us. Okay, so first, why an online business? The first reason is, and I know I have an international audience, but I'm bringing it from the perspective of America. Here in America, we have a capitalistic society. And really, it's capitalism versus consumerism. And in a capitalistic society, you have a group that sells, and you have a group that buys or consumes. So if we put it in the context of financial success, reaching one's financial goals, or bottom line, what group clearly has the bulk of the wealth in America and is experiencing the most financial success themselves, whether it's a result of what's happened from prior generations or what they're going to do to help position future generations, it's clearly the capitalists. Despite what you think about capitalism, all that emotional, political, touchy-feely, numerically, looking at a scoreboard, the capitalists are flat wearing out the consumers when it comes to financial success. So why start an online business? Because it's the least expensive entry into the capitalism world, the world of capitalism. All right? You started online, so you don't have to go get venture capitalists. No major money is needed to get started. All the research you need to do, you can access online. There's this thing called Google and YouTube. So every advantage you could possibly have of starting a business, you can access that through an online business. Now, here's another reason why it's important, and we touched on it yesterday, to start an online business. There are 2 tax codes in America. There's a tax code for those that have businesses, and a tax code for those that do not have businesses. Clearly, those who have business get tax preferential treatment over those that do not. Those that have businesses typically pay far less in taxes than those that do not. So, on just a tax basis, if you feel you're overtaxed, if you're not happy with the amount of taxes that you're paid, or that you have to pay, it's probably because you're amongst that group that does not have a business. So clearly, there's 2 tax codes: one for those that have businesses and those that do not. An online business owner falls in that category of those that have businesses, even on a part-time basis, and we'll talk about that. Next, I touched on yesterday to kind of ease into the strategies that are prevalent, the main strategies prevalent amongst the masses that they use. And I started leading into that by talking about lies. And you know, some lies, there's no harm, no foul. Sometimes we tell a lie or an untruth for so long, we hear it so often that we start to believe it. Now, one such lie where there's no harm, no foul, I talked about it before. If I were to ask someone, and it was interactive, it was on the Zoom, I'd say the sun rises east and sets in the, everybody's going to say west. They say the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. You have people going on Miami Beach on the east side in the morning wanting to watch the sun rise, and they're going to go on the west side and watch it set in the evening. Well, for someone to say, believe, and tell their children and tell their friends and keep perpetuating this lie that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, it's untrue. It's absolutely a lie. See, we learned in science, but we forgot. The sun doesn't move. It stays constant, and the earth evolves around the sun. So depending on the earth's positioning around the sun and its movement, it appears that the sun is rising and the sun is setting. But because the sun doesn't move, it can perform neither action where it'll rise or set. Now, there's no harm, no foul there. If you believe it rises or sets, it doesn't hurt anything. If you believe it rises in the east, you're going to go watch the sun rise on Miami Beach or wherever you are in the east part of that city. Or you're going to be on the west side and watch it set. No harm, no foul. But there is a lie that is perpetuated and told from generation to generation, and we know with absolute certainty for the masses it's a lie. Now, here's such lie. We're told, and then I'm going to tell you why it's a lie. We're told that all we need to do in America today is go out and get a good education. Now, nothing wrong with that. You can't ever stop learning. You should always be trying to improve your knowledge base, learning more every single day. You can never stop learning. Use that education to get yourself a good job. Work is honorable. There's nothing wrong with getting a job. We're not job bashing. We're then told to, while we're working on that job, put some money away in our retirement account, and down the road we're going to be okay. Now, we all know by the numbers that for the masses, that dog don't hunt. Statistics say 96% of the workforce that employs that strategy never gets to retire. Never sees the rainbow down the end of the road. Only 4% does. So if you look at a traditional test and 100 is an A+, and only 4% passed that test, the score was 4. That would be horrible results. So 96% of Americans that employ that strategy today fail. Now, that strategy was excellent back in the day, several generations ago, because of a thing called pensions. You'd work all these years, the pension plan would be enough to take care of you. But they went by the wayside. Companies aren't paying pensions anymore. They replaced them with retirement accounts, 401ks, 403bs, TSPs. Now, the one thing that's different from our relatives generations ago that had pensions, they knew how their pensions work. Well, when we're told, our generations right before us and after us are told to get a job, put money in your retirement account, they weren't taught how that retirement accounts work. They weren't taught how money works. They weren't taught what is the pot, what's the amount that the pot needs to be at the end of the road. Now, I know this is kind of heavy for a Saturday afternoon. In fact, many of you might be able to be on the beach. I know I have some friends in town on the beach. Some of you might be out and about. You're going to watch it later. See, it's never, ever not a time to understand what you're smack dab in the middle of. See, you're in the game of capitalism. You're either selling or getting sold to. So, in the importance of that job thing, the reason 96% of Americans fail to reach their financial goals using that strategy is because financial literacy. They aren't taught specifics about finance and money. They aren't taught smart financial strategies. They're taught engineering. They're taught science. They're taught mathematics. They're taught medicine. They're taught law. They're taught architecture. They become teachers, firefighters, police officers. They're taught law enforcement. They're taught real estate. But they aren't taught finance and money. They aren't taught compound interest. How does your money grow? They aren't taught what a 401k is. What is it comprised of? What types of accounts make up the 401k? What type of fund are you investing your money in? How can the masses ever be expected to do well in something they have no knowledge about whatsoever. So it's a lie to tell your children all they need to do is go get a good education, get a job, and start putting money away. That's a lie. It's more than that. And we got the statistic to prove that. So what I'm saying is that strategy needs to be complemented. Those using that strategy need to get assistance to allow them to be competitive in a capitalistic society. See, if you're in a capitalistic society and you don't have access to the free enterprise system freely, then you're not capitalizing on where you're at. And you're more likely on the consumer side than you are on the selling or capitalist side, and you're losing. Now, emotionally, people say, I'm doing well, I live here, I live there. You're losing. Numerically, you're losing. So now, again, emotions out of it. So it's very important to understand that the masses, their test score is 4% with that strategy. Only 4% of the American working force that employ that strategy reach their financial goals. So what has to happen is the masses need now have to understand, how do you complement that strategy? See, I'm not telling you just throw it away. Go away, give it your job. No. How do you complement that strategy to allow you to access the capitalistic system, to allow you to access the tax codes that are most favorable to Americans, those are the ones that are online, that are business owners. How do you access that to stack the deck in your favor so you can win? So your job is going to finance your lifestyle. Your job is going to finance your entry into capitalism. So, day 2 is why, or what is it that an individual using that strategy combined with an online business, what is the advantage? What is it that gives them the upper hand or a shot to win? It's more cash flow and smart financial strategies. It's more cash flow and smart financial strategies. So you have to figure out, all right, why is it that the masses that are employing that traditional strategy not winning? What is keeping them from winning? It's not will and desire. Hell, they spent years getting the degree, getting the education to position them to get the good job. So it's not like they don't want to be successful. They're getting up, getting in traffic, sometimes an hour just to get to work. Have to suffer that same traffic an hour to get back home. So it's not will and desire. It's knowledge specific to what's going to give them the ability to be successful financially. What's holding them back are obstacles. There's 5 obstacles that are preventing the masses from having the opportunity to reach their financial goals, but they're not educated on those obstacles, nor are they giving strategies to counter those obstacles. So I'm going to tell you what these obstacles are, and then videos the next few days will delve deep into those obstacles, and then a solution to how you overcome all of those obstacles, and then the masses can complement what they're already doing, whether it's in architecture, whether it's in law, whether it's in medicine, whether it's in law enforcement, whether they're firefighters, whether they're teachers. No matter what their industry they work in, they'll have a shot to win. The first obstacle, high taxes. See, if you're an employee, it doesn't matter what you do, what part of the country you're in, your age grouping, your race, it does not matter. Whether you came from Ivy League or a local institution. If you're a W-2 employee, taxes take up 1/3 of your income, which means it takes up valuable cash flow that you need to buy, build, and grow assets that's going to allow you to get to where you need to go. See, how you get from working a job to retired is you have to build income-producing assets. You have to buy them, build them, and grow them. Those are assets that pay you when you're no longer working. Your 401ks, your 403bs, your TSBs, your real estate portfolios, your residual-based businesses, all those things that bring you money when you're no longer working. All right? So cash flow is essential, so taxes take up a big piece of it. So you got to solve that obstacle. Second, poor credit. 68 million Americans have poor credit. That means they're overpaying when they leverage someone else's money. OPM, other people's money. We all want to use it. Except some people pay more to use it than others. They pay more when they get their interest rate for their mortgage. more when they get an interest rate for their car loan. And that's even if their credit score is even high enough to get one. They pay more for the privilege of using a credit card, all because of their credit score. So we help them solve that obstacle as well. High debt. High debt, credit usage, also cause your credit score to go up or down, your understanding of it. But more importantly is the money that you need to service that debt, called paying the interest, are less dollars that you have to buy, build, and grow income-producing assets. So your strategy also has to help eliminate that debt rapidly, all of it. Fourth is inadequate investing in savings. See, whether it's because of the lack of cash flow or a lack of knowledge, the masses don't have enough of their money working for them, compounding for them, growing exponentially. So that's the fourth obstacle that you have to address, and we're going to help you address that. The fifth one is inflation. So I want you to think about how many conversations you overhear your parents having at the coffee table or the kitchen table or the dining room table talking about inflation, how they have to ensure their household income is consistently outpacing inflation. See, inflation is the way we measure the cost of living. You know the fact that the price of groceries typically go up every single year. Utilities, insurance, rent, all these things go up. Gasoline go up every single year. Inflation grows 3 to 4%. So if you're not cognizant of inflation, it's an important factor of your financial strategy, then you don't ensure that your income, your revenue is growing a minimum of an extra 5% every single year, allowing your income to outgrow or outpace inflation. So those are the 5 obstacles that are keeping people from reaching their financial goals. And then the 6th one is the wild card. It's you yourself. It's your understanding of money and your role in the capitalist society. Your role in the game, and if you're not understanding it, you'll get played. And what happens also, besides you affect generations to come. You end up giving, if you don't understand how the game's played, you end up giving your children and your grandchildren's wealth away. You end up investing in other people's children and grandchildren's legacy and wealth. And I'll talk about that in other videos. So, online business, yes or no? Absolutely. Is it worth it? A resounding yes. Are there advantages to it? Absolutely. So, day 2, for those of you here on YouTube, day 1.5, for those of you who are joining on Facebook. So we're all catch up, be caught up tomorrow. And I'll use this same platform where I'll record it live on Facebook. And then I'll upload it on YouTube. So both platforms get the same information. And as of tomorrow, we'll all be caught up. So I want to encourage every single one of you to live life till its fullest today, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. Enjoy the day wherever you are in the United States and around the world. Your boy TC, I'm out. You take care.